You're feeling like you're not worthy, and I'm telling you that that's in your blueprint to feel like you're not worthy. You're not doing anything wrong. You stop making yourself wrong so early on in life. And it's the compound of the wrongness that keeps you from experiencing the moments of rightness. It's those moments of rightness that pull you through. That's hope. That's faith.
She's a badass. So when I first met Paige, she was already killing it and she was transitioning to online. Mm-hmm. And now she's a leader in her space. She was one of the first to bring human design online. And now she is articulating it and talking about it in a way that no one else is. She's contextualizing it in a way where you can actually apply it in an empowering way, from an empowering space that fits you. Whenever I tune into her, whether it's in person or online, her energy is jumping off to where I elevate and I can show up as my full self, because to me, she occurs as showing up as her full self. You're very infectious and intoxicating. Yeah. And I think that's like such a great way to put it. So I wanted to bring her to Since 3000 because Since 3000 is all about embodying the past, present, and future you now. And when I see Paige, that's what I see. Like, she is everything. We have more matter inside of us or whatever as like all the galaxies. Yep. Like, to me, Paige is in real life 3D like representation and reminder of that. Aww. So there's so much that we can talk about on today's episode. Mm-hmm. I wish we had 8 hours. We could fill them with so many things. The gamut is everything from business strategy. Like, I want to ask you about your TikTok. Like, she blew up on TikTok. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how it happened either. I know you know. Even if it's all by design. Yeah. So she like blew up on TikTok. If you right now are either building your business, scaling your business, or you are in a place of transition where you're seeing this trend and this shift and you're not sure what's happening, you're like, my paid ads aren't working like they're used to. These webinars aren't working like they used to. This pricing is a little suspect. These other leaders I used to follow, I don't know anymore. Paige is really a representation of what I think at a macro level is this shift of the cosmos, where we are going into the divine feminine, where we are leading with our just who we are, which changes from moment to moment with like our whole selves, bringing our whole, not just this aspect, not just here's my spreadsheet, here's my numbers, but it's the whole thing. So because of that, she's built multi-million-dollar businesses, so we could get into the strategy of that. She's run ads profitably. We could get into the strategy of that. Yeah. She's built her TikTok. We could get into the strategy of that and monetize those followers. And then there's the other side with the science of human design, the science of being yourself is what I would call it. We could get into that. Then there's relationships with yourself, with and then in romantic relationships, how to grow that. We could get into that. Parenting, the way she parents her kids, we could get into that. So there's so much, and I'm so excited for you to tune into this episode. So it's all coming to you right now. Welcome to Since 3000. I'm so excited to bring you today's episode, but before we do, I need to make sure you've heard about Member Up. So community-driven products are the future, but Facebook groups are a thing of the past. And after 10 plus years in the online education space, I've taken all my learnings and I've built this incredible platform, Member Up. It's a customizable, easy to use, all-in-one platform where you can build a premium course, community, or membership site without the tech headache. Gone are the days of having to duct tape together your content, your community, your payments, all on different platforms. I want you to do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and head over right now to memberup.com/Danielle. And you can get started for free today. I promise you, I can't wait for you to see this platform. It's beautiful. Okay, the design is amazing. Your community is going to feel at home here, and you are going to take pride in your online business. It is the place to start. Head over to memberup.com/Danielle. Now let's get into the episode. With J-Lo in my mind, when she wore that dress, the Versace dress, and it was a moment, she became the effect. You know why? Do you know that Google Images was invented as a result of that moment? No. Because people were Googling the dress, and Google was like, shit, we need like a way to categorize and deliver images, because there were so many searches. She caused, right? Wow. She was the effect that created Google Images because of that moment with the dress. So when I think of like me, like really stepping into being the effect. So when you called it fame, and I always thought about fame of mattering to those who matter most to you, or just, you know, so it's like, it's not being known amongst the entire world. It's to whoever matters to you. You are to. I had a whole brand called Fame Hacks, but I've had
really?
girl, this was like a decade ago where I would invent a new thing every week.
Oh, I mean,
and so one of my things was Fame Hacks. Yeah.
I love that. No, I love it.
But that's how I define fame. I was like, I don't want to be famous, like in the traditional sense. But to me, fame is like when you are known amongst those who matter to you.
And then maybe a lot of people matter. Like the world matters to you, or like the things that you want to do are bigger. You know what I mean? And so then, then your level of fame would match that. So I am famous.
Yeah.
You heard it. Sorry. Sorry about ya. For all the people that don't want to see me be famous.
I have a mug that says "Tears for the Haters."
Could drink them for breakfast.
Maybe I might gift it to you.
Yeah, okay. I received that for sure. Yeah, it's been interesting. And they came out of nowhere. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years and just lately, and so I must be close. You know what I mean?
That's how you know.
That's how I know. And I'm like, it doesn't bother me. I got like upset because there are people that I know in real life, and to me that bothers me because I'm like, you know me. Why would you even question my integrity or like who I am? But all I look at it is as I'm just getting close, and it's just an opportunity to exercise and reaffirm who I am and what I want to be.
Ooh, okay. When you say just getting close, what does that mean? I'm like,
to the
getting
version
close
of
to
myself
what?
that I want to be. So the version of myself, the next level version of myself just cannot be available for anybody else's opinion of what she's doing and what she's saying and how she's being, or it will completely hinder the work I have to do in the world and the work that I get to do in the world. And because you have to be a model of what you're teaching, and what my next level work is helping creatives make money, being themselves. So I have a new masterclass. It's called Paid to Exist. Like that's my thing. I feel like I'm the queen of getting paid to exist.
You really are.
And that's why I was joking about my feet, because I was like, but why wouldn't I not? Why would I not? Like if you're going to take recording on my feet and I'm just existing here, and that would make somebody's day and they would be willing to give me money for it, why would I not?
Yes.
But why would I not? Why would I not?
Why would I not?
Yeah, and so Li Jin did this really great interview on the Bankless podcast.
Ooh, who is Li Jin?
She coined the creator economy.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
So she's like massive in Web3, and she's a business investor. And she's like, there at the end, they said, give us advice that you would give to the creators. And she's like, just start. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet, but there's a reason they're not just starting. So there's a reason they have not already started. Right. And that is what's missing in the space.
Conversation.
And the entire conversation.
Yep. Right.
And Web3 and all of this is the creators are stifled. They're in pain. They're struggling. They're intoxicated. They're depressed. Yes. We're not going to have enough creators if we don't start addressing that to make the creator economy. To have an economy, you have we have our little bubble and our little vacuum online that we have, and we really don't understand how it's so small.
I love how you hit on the just start. What's missing from the conversation. So I have this theory for Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yep.
We have the levels, and they start with things you need for survival.
Yep.
So shelter, water, food, or it's food, water, then shelter, then I think love and relationships, belonging, and then, self-actualization. I'm probably missing a level, but you get the drift. I asked the question of what if we flip the pyramid and we start with the question of who are you? Yep. Of the self-actualization, because what I realized is we are taught to first do, to have, done. To be. And so I've done all these things, and it wasn't until I made the money, then I was, exposed to the people who said the most important question is, who are you? And that's when I started the work.
It is.
And I asked myself, what if I was taught this from out the womb?
So that's
what if out the womb we were taught?
My entire mission is that it's so much bigger than me being online and these things. It's almost like, how can I bring this to people as soon as possible? So that's why I make the conversation so accessible and practical. I'm not sitting here human design, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, you're feeling like you're not worthy, and I'm telling you that that's in your blueprint to feel like you're not worthy. You're not doing anything wrong. You stop making yourself wrong so early on in life. It's a compound of the wrongness that keeps you from experiencing the moments of rightness, and it's those moments of rightness that pull you through.
Wow.
You know, that's hope. That's faith. And you don't have a lot of that when you're being told that you're not supposed to be saying this, or that, you know, you feel unworthy, but just get it together. Like, just tell yourself some affirmations. A lot of people don't even have access to the internet, and we're just like, it's on the internet. I'm like, you have obviously never been in community with very poor people, because they don't have the internet. They go to the library, and what if it's blizzarding out, you know, and how do they get to the library, and do they have a coat to get to the library? Nobody's thinking about those things. And so that's always on my mind, is like, how can I get this information? I would like to just give it all away. Like, always, just give all the information away and just put it out there, and then make money existing. Essentially, like I said, it's my goal, but I think it should start in schools.
Yes.
Not, but the school systems aren't set up for us.
I want to go back to one thing you said about owning. What I heard is, even in that question of who are you, there's an opportunity to own our full selves, which honestly was a big part of the inspiration for this, of like Since 3000, of like owning our past, present, and future. And also what you're saying, which is what is a part of our design. So the biggest nugget I got from you, you came and you presented, actually right here, you presented right there in my living room for the CEO retreat. And you talked about how at a cellular level, we're addicted to a certain state, like our cells are addicted to a certain state. And you, in that conversation, I identified that, wow, on a cellular level, my body is addicted to a state of stress and anxiety.
Yeah, it's adapted to it.
Yes. And
So
it's like
anything that's
everything
not-
will be amazing, and I will be like laying down, taking a nap in the afternoon, and then the mind will just start, and I'll just be like, wait a minute, why am I feeling? And then I'll just like create
And then you
issues.
make yourself wrong for doing that. But I have to remind people that that's your body trying to survive. And so if you don't go into the whole of a bad person, why I'm having these intrusive thoughts, and apologizing for who you are, when your body's just trying to stay alive, it's that acceptance of who you are and who you're being in the moment that actually gives you the opportunity to choose a new thought. But when you go into, I'm so stressed out and I should be relaxed right now, and I have all the money, I have all the things I want, and I'm still trying to make something wrong. Even a relationship, like the best relationship, and I'm still sitting at home trying to find something to make myself feel rejected and disappointed in him. Because that's how I'm so used to feeling, that my body, it's just like food. It's like any other addiction. So just like acknowledging that I have the capacity to, laugh at this, not I am. I have a strong capacity or possibility of insecurity. So I realize that. So when I'm feeling insecure, I just say I'm feeling insecure.
Whoa, that's so freeing. Just saying that.
I tell them all the time, like, I feel insecure right now. I'm not. Then that's why I'm acting crazy. Because I feel insecure. So
I'm curious, what is his response when you say, I'm feeling insecure right now?
I'm trying to think of what he says, but it's mostly along the lines of, I'm sorry. And, you know, if he does something to make me feel insecure, which is it's literally never. I went and hurt my own feelings.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I was scrolling his Instagram looking for something that happened before he met me, and I'm like, how dare you comment on this girl's Instagram? Literally, you told her that she was pretty. Like, he gave her a compliment. Like, he wasn't even being like, it wasn't even like sexual. It wasn't like, hey, babe. Like, it was just like, you're like, goddamn. Like, it was just nice. And I was like, you say the same things to her that you say to me. I mean, and it's not like, he literally does everything in his power to secure me and to affirm me and to make me feel loved. He can't do those things. I think that's another important thing, is like, it doesn't matter how secure he makes me feel if I'm dead set on being insecure. And all he can ever do is uphold that feeling of security. So he's devoted to my feeling of security.
Wow. He's devoted to my feeling
feelings.
of security.
Yeah, he's devoted to my security, so he makes it a priority that I feel secure, or I feel supported, or I feel taken care of. But I have to make myself feel supported, taken care of first, and he will uphold it, and he's devoted to it. But when I'm feeling really insecure, and I feel like I feel ugly, or I feel whatever I am in that moment, and he's like, you look so beautiful, babe, I want to pop him in the face. So it's like, he can't do anything. He's like, please make my nose bleed. But like, can't make me feel secure when I am dead set on feeling insecure in that moment. Or I just do, my body is dead set on feeling insecure in that moment.
So that distinction, can you tell us about that distinction?
Yeah, so my body is used to the sensation of insecurity, which for me is a visceral, it hurts my belly. It's just like a tension in my belly. You know what it feels like when your heart drops into your belly?
Oh, yeah. I feel like I've been feeling this all week. So
yeah,
yes.
So it's in my belly, and so my body gets used to that, it adapts to that. And it doesn't know good or bad, right or wrong. Only my thoughts make it bad. And so then the thoughts that I have are he's lying to me, he wants to be with another girl, whatever, that she's hotter than me, whatever those things are. So your mind
tries to explain and put meaning on whatever you're feeling.
Yeah, and then it tries to uphold it, tries to keep it. So it's this loop that it gets into. And the thing is, when our body is stressed or anxious or it's in fight or flight, we actually don't have as much access to our executive functioning to choose a new thought. So it's actually really difficult to get out of that loop. But I know, that's why I teach people to just have like one or two very easy ways to regulate yourself. And sometimes it's alcohol. Sometimes, but people have.
So when you say regulate yourself, and then how would someone regulate themselves with alcohol? Yeah, tell me
let's
more
just say
about that.
have a drink and you're loosening up, like you're loosening up a little bit. You're not
I love that you use that example because for me personally, like I have felt a little bit of like shame or like, oh, that's so basic. Like for me to be like, if I have a drink or a couple drinks, then I'll feel better. Like if I'm at a party or social setting and I'm like, I should feel like I belong in the room. I should feel, but I don't if I have a couple drinks, but I'm like, but why do I need a couple drinks to feel? And I would have shame around that.
Yeah, I get that.
I love that you're saying, no, this is a strategy.
Yeah, it is. As long as you look at it as a strategy and not a coping mechanism. I'm not coping. I'm just saying, I want to be able to choose a new thought right now. And the only way to choose a new thought is to have access to my executive functioning, and maybe just one drink will light me up so I can choose a new belief. Wow. So like that's one way, but people regulate their nervous system in many different ways. It's that society will make that wrong. And like there's this hierarchy, this spiritual hierarchy of ways to regulate your nervous system. And that's just like, fuck you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're the one that's keeping people in trauma because you're making them feel wrong around their coping mechanism. Now, once they remove the shame around the alcohol, then they could choose to maybe not have the alcohol. Maybe they could choose something else, but they're in the shame spiral. It's once you remove the shame and the guilt around the thing is when you can actually remove the thing if you wanted to. We actually had this conversation yesterday. I was like, I personally have been drinking way more than I have in a very long time.
White Claws, apparently.
Yeah, White Claws. Trying to maintain, trying to gluten-free, gluten and sugar-free. It's not working. So I'll have, but it's more than I have in a very long time because before I met Jesse, I wasn't really drinking that much. Not that he brought that into my life, but musician energy, no. We just go to a lot of shows, and I find shows are more fun when I have a few drinks in me.
Totally.
But I was like, it's borderline. It's getting to be a problem, not the alcohol being a problem. My thoughts around the alcohol are starting to be a problem.
Because it's maybe that cause and effect where you're like, if I have these drinks, then I can show up this way.
And to me, that connotates to me an absence of control over myself, or command, really, not even control. And also, I'm able to drink more and feel okay the next day. And I was like, okay, like this could be a problem because I'm going to start being a functioning. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's this ability to be like, okay, I feel I need a drink right now, or I need to go stretch. So having like one or two or three coping or regulating exercises, I don't care what they are, as simple and as accessible as they can be. If you have those and you know you're doing it so you can change your thought process, then I think it's healthy or correct for you.
Yes. This is so good. So first, we're talking about regulating your nervous system, which means giving yourself the ability to choose a new thought. So if you're in a pattern of I'm feeling insecure or I'm feeling this, I'm feeling my heart drop in my stomach. For me, the word I call it's anxiety. That's how I experience it. And my brain has named it anxiety. I'm like, this is bad. This is terrible. You're stressed. So what we're saying is we each have developed strategies to regulate ourselves so we can choose a new thought and say, I'm ready or whatever.
We build strategies and systems and habits around it. And I think Like again, you know, picking up the drink is a habit.
I would love to hear the spectrum, because you mentioned how and I've noticed this too, there is a spectrum of practices and habits, and there's a spectrum of society says this is great and this is not.
Yeah.
So what are some regulating practices, habits that you're aware of that, you know, people use or that they could use if someone's watching this and they're like, oh, this is new for me?
Yeah.
What are some things?
Some things that I do personally, I'm in like this phase of regulating in the way that I don't typically regulate, which is, you know, having a drink maybe. But I would stretch in the mornings, or I would just stretch, or you'll see me sometimes do this. Or sometimes I'll go like this. Like there's just little things we do. Music, dancing. Dancing is huge for me, and I stopped doing it because I was making those TikTok dances forever, and I just stopped. You know, we stopped doing the thing that feels good because we start to reach our capacity for feeling good, and our nervous system is like so it's like not beating yourself up for that and be like, yeah, I did stop dancing for 3 months because it did feel really good, or and just getting right back into it without the shame or guilt. So pushing up against the wall is good for people. Dancing, he plays music. And just like creating, Kayla Craft was talking about just watercoloring the other day. Things that there's Zen. I eat. Like I've been eating, being in a healthy relationship has actually completely dysregulated me. Oh. So I have been, because I was so used to unhealthy.
Oh my goodness.
So I've been dysregulated nonstop since probably December until just recently.
How do you know when you're dysregulated?
I'm eating, I'm coping. Everything's coping. So it's like I'm eating, I'm not doing the habits that make me feel good because I'm trying to feel bad because the relationship feels good.
Wow.
Because, you know, and I'm so used to feeling disappointment with men, so now I'm just trying to feel disappointment with myself.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And the fascinating thing is, I fucking know all of this is happening.
As you're saying this, I'm thinking like one of the things I love about you is how self-aware you are.
Yeah, it's like, but I always tell him too. I'm like, there's one thing to be self-aware, and there's another thing to like
do something about it.
Fucking anything about it. He'll be like, well, I think it's this. I go, I know what it is. I'm still choosing the food. Like, I'm not going to stretch. I know.
I was at the same, so, okay, one of my regulating habits is hookah.
Yeah.
So when I got out of my relationship, my 7-year relationship, and I had the year of like, who am I? Mm-hmm. And it was this question of, well, what brings me pleasure? And I put myself on a pleasure pursuit. Yeah. And I'm like, how do I, because, you know, I had this amazing person who, brought joy to my life, and I was relying on the external source of the joy and the happiness and the humor and everything. Meanwhile, you know, I might be hormonal or just like moody or like hypersensitive because
you're
I'm
an
like mostly
authority,
water.
So you have you're just up and down. It's you're Piscean
every day.
So you have you're just. It's the making yourself wrong for feeling the things.
That's the thing.
Like you're just not going to feel the same hour to hour to hour to hour.
And I've started to accept that and be like, oh, okay, this is how we're feeling now. Yeah. And I think, so I asked myself, okay, and one of my quests was just like, well, let me see what brings me pleasure. Yeah. And so what I found was like sitting here, you know, on the couch, hookah, galaxy light, music. Yeah. But I remember I've said this to friends where I'm like, first of all, I feel a little bit of shame around it. And I'm like, don't worry. I'm just doing this for now until I'm ready, you know, until I can regulate in a different way. But you're apologizing
for that to them as if because of their judgment. So anytime you're apologizing because of their judgment, it's actually your judgment. So all judgment is self-judgment.
Yes. Because they don't care.
They don't give a fuck.
Everybody, we're all in our own worlds. We're all doing we actually don't care.
And if they do bring it back to you, again,
it's what's going on with them.
And it is, and sometimes I'm like, but is that going on with me? You know, am I maybe feeling a little out of I will always ask myself, like, do I feel out of integrity?
Is there some truth in this?
And sometimes, most of the time, there is truth, but sometimes it's just them projecting, and it's just me to uphold that new version of myself or that new belief or whatever that is. But if we could just remove shame and guilt and judgment, period, and that's the thing, is it's our judgment around the thing, the beliefs we're telling that we have around the food. Like, I swear, if I just looked at the food, no matter what it was, and was like, my belief is that this is healthy for me and that this is going to nourish me, and as I eat it, I'm going to shed this weight. Like, I believe that fully, and if I get my body in a full alignment around that before I eat the thing, that thing won't have that effect on me at all. It's my judgment that the thing is bad for me, it's going to be unhealthy for me. And I struggle with that. I've probably the last like 5 or 6 months of, everything's bad for you. is it not? Like if you think like everything is bad, like the preservatives and I'm like, this is not serving me. Thinking, because then I will do all or nothing. I'll just eat I'll eat whatever I want because all of it's bad. So I'm going to eat what I want. But what if none of it's bad and it's all just what we're making it out to be? I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to go for it. That's kind of what I'm doing with alcohol. Like alcohol is just like, I'm making it into a poison or bad for you. It's like, what if it's just a medicine? What if it's just a thing? What if it's a placebo? And we just take it and we think that we're getting drunk and we're not. You know what I mean? So I'm like playing with that with life.
I like that.
It can be really intense and really overwhelming, so I don't do it too often. I want to be a human.
If you are a creative entrepreneur and your business is unique, why are you working with a generic accountant? One of the best decisions I made was who I would partner with on my taxes and my accounting. So if you're a creative entrepreneur, you are growing your business, you're scaling your business, I want to introduce you to Revel. Revel is a firm that can help you whether you're looking to prepare your taxes or you're looking for that year-round support. They will tell you what's happening in your business and why. So if you're tired of being ignored, talked down to, or feeling like you are chasing around your accountant and needing to drive the relationship yourself, it's time for a change. Head over to revelcpa.com, REVELCPA.com. Head on over, fill out their interest form, and make sure you look into working with them. Again, that is revelcpa.com, REVELCPA.com. We all deserve the right firm to partner with.
It's been proven that procrastination can be one of our biggest enemies to success. Now, contrary to belief, procrastination is not based on a lack of time management or organizational skills. Procrastination is directly linked to our emotions. Now, the reason I know this is because of Patty Johnston. Patty Johnston is incredible. She's a Course from Scratch member, but even more importantly, she's built multiple multi-million-dollar businesses once she learned how to overcome procrastination. So she's created a program where she shares her system on how to overcome procrastination, and it's based on emotional intelligence, neuroscience, and accountability. She's gonna show you step-by-step how to overcome negative feelings so you can start taking action and start seeing a difference from day one. So text this number right now to schedule an appointment with Patty and her team to see if this is right for you and what steps for you to take to overcome your procrastination. 813-789-1097. And again, the number to text right now is 813-789-1097. Let's all overcome procrastination together. Now let's get back to the episode. I like one of the identities I take on is just being like a scientist. Mm-hmm. Others call it an observer.
Yeah.
But this is something I practiced a lot. When I was in that inquiry of like, who am I? Mm-hmm. Where I would try things on. So in this case, like the alcohol, I would try that on. And then just like try to remember you are the scientist and you're the subject of the experiment. Yep. So you're crafting the experiment and you're in the experiment. Yes. And now guess what the scientist does every day? Exactly. Makes a note in the journal. Well, what was the impact mm-hmm. of this experiment? How do we feel? Blah, blah, blah. Are there any modifications we want to make for tomorrow when we do this again? Mm-hmm. That was such a healthy practice for me.
It's a self-awareness and observation. And that what it really is, Danielle, it's just detachment. We stop identifying. We're like, and that's what it is. It really, all thoughts are just thoughts. And it really actually is. So emotionally, when you're in a high, you're a magnet for high vibe thoughts. So you'll just like attract high vibe people, high vibe thoughts. When you're in emotional low, you'll seek out in your brain low. And so if you could just use it as a benchmark for wherever you're at emotionally. So sometimes that's how I know I'm in a low emotionally or I'm dysregulated is mostly by the quality of my thoughts. What is the frequency of my thoughts? Not a judgment. It's just, how do I feel? How does this thought make me feel in my body? Heavy, the tension. Or does it make me feel free, light in my body? Not good or bad. How does it make me feel?
One thing I've noticed is before, I would say a few years ago even, as recent as a few years ago, I didn't have the language around this. Mm-hmm. I didn't have language. And actually, we were talking about Brene Brown and the language around emotions. And I didn't have language around my body, emotions.
People just should be given the vocabulary Like when they're born.
And yes, and we're not.
On
and
the
also,
spectrum.
oh God, there's a couple threads here. So, well, one thread is the separation of mind and body, and how growing up, in particular, maybe like Western civilization, I'm sure other places, but let's just say here, I would say I was taught that my mind is the authority. So I can figure anything out.
It's literally the least
I know.
authoritative.
And I'm like, oh, and I was taught, oh, your mind, like you can figure anything out. And if I was crying, it would be no, you're gonna look weak. They're gonna take advantage of you. No, like you can figure anything out. So my mind was a thing that was elevated, propped up as the authority, and therefore I had no connection or very little connection to my body.
I was going to ask you that. Like, how often do you say, I feel? Like, just the two I feel before anything. How often do you say that?
Now, more often than ever.
Yeah.
This is the most connected I've ever felt with my body. I finally have, even first, the awareness that the authority is in my body. The inner authority is here.
Yeah.
So now I have that awareness, and now I have language around it. It's still not sophisticated language. Literally, it's like, you know, like 5-year-old or maybe like a SAT level 5-year-old. But, you know, it's advanced for 5-year-old, but it's like, it's very limited. It's like, I feel anxious, I feel stressed, I'm excited, or I'm at peace. I think those are like my most common
if we
ones.
want to, I've learned this, if we want to expand our experiences, we expand our vocabulary for those things. And so I stopped saying I feel good. I'm like, okay, Paige.
You're like, wait.
And I'm just going to only ever just feel good. I'm only going to have just good experiences. And so Tony Robbins, in one of his very, 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 very early books, we call it high def language in my courses. Ooh. So high definition means it's like you're at high def, like you're the brightest,
like
big,
HD,
yes,
like 4D,
yes.
like okay.
And then there's high def and low def. So we don't make it good or bad. We're just like when you're low def, things are just black and white.
Ooh,
they're not
good.
wrong.
It's not a spectrum.
No, it's just black and white. It's like a camera. You know what I mean? It's just a different.
It's the Wizard of Oz
and view.
Before the house landed on the witch.
So there's high def language and then there's low def language.
Y'all got that. She didn't get it. It's okay.
I did.
Oh. She's like, I just kept talking.
I just had to get the thought out.
I get it.
I was Munchkin #1 in Wizard of Oz. It was my first line in a show ever.
Oh my God.
It was not, we thank you very sweetly for doing it so neatly. Yes. Mine was, you killed her so completely that we thank you very sweetly.
Oh my God.
And that was like right after the house. So, girl, I know.
She's like, I just had to get my thought out. Okay. Yes.
But I challenge you to expand your
vocabulary.
Yeah, and with your low def feelings, your high def feelings. So Google the emotional spectrum.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a spectrum. It has all these words and there's colors.
Google the emotional spectrum.
Yeah, so you'll be like,
this is our drunken history camp.
Yeah.
Google the emotional. Did you say American spectrum?
It's probably American. I don't
know.
You
said it's emotional.
Emotional.
Google the emotional spectrum.
There's going to be colors.
Okay.
And so, because some people can't identify their color, like my kids, I'm like, how do you feel right now? And Ford will be like, red. You know what red means, you know what I mean? So red is on the spectrum and I could just go to red. I'm like, do you feel angry or do you feel, frustrated? Or for me, it was like, do I feel anxious or do I feel nervous or do I feel, anxious isn't a feeling, it's a sensation.
And I just blanket everything that feels wrong or bad or how it
You're
shouldn't be.
You're just staying surface level. If you could just get underneath it, be like, what are you actually, anxiety is just the other side of excitement.
Right.
It's literally the same frequency. It's the low def end of the spectrum of excitement.
Okay.
And it's the anticipation. Myron Golden.
Yes, I love Myron.
I do
Golden.
too.
He's amazing.
I love him. So it's the anticipation of an unfavorable outcome. So when I'm getting anxious, I'm like, well, what am I anticipating is going to happen that's unfavorable in my mind? What have I judged as unfavorable? And then in that moment, once you regulate, you have a drink. You can then
hookah,
or have a little puff.
There you go.
Hookah. You can then choose what you to be excited about. So there's always the excitement is there and it's available for you. We are just choosing the anxiety because that's where we feel comfortable. So the energy, the frequency that's why I'm like, everybody's not having what they've created. So you're disappointed, but because you have disappointment, you also have acceptance. You also have whatever the end of it is for you. It's just you're not choosing that.
So
it's there.
We have access to the spectrum.
It's right. You literally have the emotion. It's right there, but you're labeling it and you're experiencing it as disappointment. But you could actually be experiencing it as love and acceptance if you looked. So my biggest story was like always feeling disappointed by men. And like they were not protecting and providing for me, and they were just always disappointing me. I could never count on them.
What do you mean your story?
My story, how you know the story exists is because it keeps playing out over and over again. So I kept being with men and being disappointed by them. So that was my favorite story.
Wow, because it proved you were right.
Yeah, every time. And then it's like this loop. But it started with my mom because my mom did everything. She was anxious, so she overfunctioned, and so my dad couldn't do anything. So he underfunctioned, and then the story is, well, you can't trust men, you just gotta do it yourself.
Wow.
So for me, men they won't provide and protect. And of course that became like my reality because that was the story. So I'm like, well, if I have the capacity to be disappointed, then I have the capacity to have admiration and to be accepting of men. So I would go out of my way to look for ways they were protecting me. The worst ones. And I was like, well, he is protecting me from him. He knows he's not. So I was like, wow. Or one of the biggest ones was, he's willing to sacrifice his life to be the villain so I can heal. What a hero. And I could love him, and I could really love him and accept him for that, and like just genuinely appreciate him. And from that place of appreciation and love, I didn't care to be with him.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't need to be. You know what I mean? I was like, well, I don't need that disappointment anymore. This feels better. And I would be so overwhelmed with love for him rejecting me that I would be like, thank you so much for like being like rejecting me. And he's like, you're welcome. You know?
He's like, hold on.
But here's the thing, genuine appreciation, genuine unconditional love. He wanted to be like around me more, and I got more of what I was appreciating him for. And we didn't end up together because I just didn't need that lesson anymore, and I didn't need to be like that. But I changed that story, and so it's so funny because my story was that men can't do anything, and you have to take care of yourself. And I literally let him do. I handed him my banana this morning. I was like, here.
To open?
Yeah. What did I try to do? Oh, I tried to open the coffee. I tried for like a second, and I was like, here. I just give him everything. I wait for the doors to be open.
I love it.
Did you see my stories yesterday? Probably not.
No,
he was carrying my purse through the airport.
I love it.
Yeah, I did. But my mom, that's so opposite of my mom. She could never. And that's how I knew that I had healed it. Not because it's good or bad, but I was being and allowing a whole different experience when the pattern had been. And that's also why it was so difficult to be with him. I was like, this is boring. I'm never going to be disappointed in you. So then I was trying to find ways to be disappointed in him. So disappointed you commented on that girl.
In 2017, telling her she looks nice.
Disgusting. God. You need to go back in time and have a little self-respect. I think I said something like, it's just like thirsty. And that people are going to see that and they're going to judge me. It's just so bad. It's funny. It's so bad that it's funny.
It's so good.
But I didn't judge myself too harshly for it.
That's good.
Wait,
how fast did it take you, or how long did it take you to?
What was that, like a day? I tried to not even have the conversation with him when I was experiencing it, but he kept trying to text me and talk about like the day to day because we weren't together. He was on tour, which makes it harder because we didn't have that connection. So I was dysregulated from having. Him constantly touching me or like taking care of me. I was just having to take care of myself. But I was just dysregulated, and so it just made it worse. And I tried to regulate myself, I really did. I tried to not even have the conversation with him, but he just kept texting me and I was being a bitch. Like I was just like one wording answer because I was like, I don't want to talk to you right now. Like I'm moving through it, and then we had the conversation. He was just blown away. He was like, what can I do? What is happening? He was like, I don't know what to do here. Yeah. I was like, and he apologized. I'm like, you don't apologize. What did you do? You didn't do anything. Then I just got mad that he was apologizing. I was like, this isn't about you. He's like, is she gonna break up? He's just like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what to do. Chaos.
Wow.
It's chaotic. It can be, it's real chaotic sometimes. But I know that. And the thing is, I love myself for it.
But this is happening with all of us. The only difference is some of us have language around it. We have awareness around it, whether it's in the moment or, you know, months later or a day later. That's the difference. Yeah. Like, we're all in this chaos.
Oh, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think if people were more real on social media, and we get into this positioning. I just went off on my stories about this. I was like, people are so busy trying to be the authority that they don't see what's going on. Because right now, relatable, rapport building, authentic connection building, marketing is what's converting. And so these authorities are like, my psychological positioning, how am I going to make this sale without making you feel like a peasant? Like, God. So they're so worried about like not saying the wrong thing, or like, you know, and that's why they can't stand me. They're like, what does she do? You should not be talking about your sex life. Like, you should not be fully expressed. Like, and I'm like, speak for yourself, man. Like, keep going. That's fine. Like, I obviously don't know what I'm talking about. Just because I'm so expressed and I'm so authentic that people think I have no strategy. My strategy is that you think that I have no strategy. My strategy is that you think that I'm just being real, and I am, but like, I'm doing it strategically also.
It's by design. Yeah. We are all by design if we allow ourselves to just be.
But they don't know it. It's this positioning, and I think you're seeing it. And you're like, I want to be a person.
Yes.
I want to be a full human on the internet. I want to show up fully as me in all ways, but you've always just been the authority and posture. Like, the posture was like, listen to me, I'm an expert.
Yes.
And if I even veer off and become a human for you'll stop viewing me as an expert. And then that will affect my whole entire like livelihood and all those things. And that's terrifying. We're teaching people how to do ads.
That's good.
That's like entry level paid media, but it's because people are just, they don't get it. They want to do it to opt in. I'm like, you could just pay to put yourself in front of those people, being yourself.
Just boost it.
And then you have an audience of 100,000 people that just like
retarget
with a product that you're using. It doesn't have to be a product that you even created. It could be a partnership with somebody. Like, my retargeting audience, I sell Fuckboy Reform School. I have dating products.
Can you tell me what Fuckboy Reform School is?
Yeah, Fuckboy Reform School is for women who keep attracting fuckboys. So we're not reforming the fuckboys, because I have an investment in another program called Nice Guy Reform School.
No way! And it's run by nice guys?
It's run by a woman who coaches men who are nice guys, who are also just the exact, they're the same, and it's just as like lethal as fuckboys. It's just a different presentation.
That's so good!
And the nice guys to me are probably more insidious and scary, because fuckboys are like, I am a dick.
It's obvious.
The nice guy is like, no, I'm gonna be nice at first, and I'm gonna manipulate you by being nice. So, but it's the same core wound. And so with women, the reason they're attracting it is because of their same core wound. So I did Fuckboy Reform School with my two partners because I wasn't an expert in dating. I was just an expert in attracting fuckboys. I taught women how to notice the patterns of who they're being and who they're attracting. And I'm like, guess what? It's you. So once you shift who you are, you stop attracting them.
And that's where the empowerment piece comes up. Like we were just talking about last night, is about when you claim your agency.
Yep.
Like when you say, I have agency over this, I contributed to creating this situation and this pattern, and that's so empowering. Yep. Instead of being like, he did this to me, how could he do this, how could she do this? I created this. I attracted
and here's why I did that. 100%. Oh, hello.
Yes. Cheers. We didn't do a cheers. What are we? One word of what you're cheersing to.
Future. I need to choose a better word.
I was choose
a more expanded word.
Thinking. You know what I'm choose for you? Infinite. That's my word for you. Infinite.
Just used that on some of my branding this morning. Infinite. For me. Yes. Immortal. I also love that too. What about you?
But then you're acknowledging the mortal, and it's like, why would we even? That's kind of like when people say you're thinking outside the box, or like you're breaking the ceiling. I'm like, what ceiling? I didn't even know there was a ceiling. That's not in my vocabulary.
Absolutely.
There's not a box.
Because then it's a connotation.
There's not a mortal in my vocabulary. Speaking of mortals, though, so I have a really good friend, and she has a scorecard for dating, right? And so she's using a dating.
She just use a database, like she scores them.
Well, I guess she says scorecard because she's very technical minded, and so like a hiring scorecard. We all got scorecards, girl. We just call them different things. Like, you know, your non-negotiables and your that kind of thing.
Okay.
But she just calls it, I think, because it's in a spreadsheet and she's technical minded.
It's like a KPI?
I mean, she probably does break it down like KPIs. She probably does. She's probably like, how many times did he open the door? 50% of the time?
You're not being accountable. You're not being accountable
70%. We need 70%.
to what you own. Anyway, you need to open more doors.
No. But no, it's not that deep. It's literally just like what everyone else.
I hope not.
It's just a different word for like negotiables, not whatever. Anyway, so and she has a whole why for why she's being very intentional about it.
She should be.
Absolutely, and she has a great why. So, however, one piece of feedback she gave me, she went on like her first date from a matchmaking service.
Yeah.
And she said, yeah, you know, he was too much of a mortal for me. And I was like,
he's too human.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I understand that. And I'm like, how are you going to articulate that feedback to the dating service? Like, will they understand it? She said, well, if they're vibrating at the frequency to understand it, they will. But if not, then I'll have to find another way to put it. And I'm like,
Yep.
So it's funny that she used the word mortal.
I love that. I love her. She's like, well, yeah. I mean, if they're not, then.
Did you read the Grimes article? So this was in the context of the Grimes article. Are you familiar with Grimes and her whole vibe?
Yep.
So if you were to think immortal, she's definitely immortal, right? But anyway, yeah, read it because that, like, when she used the word of, or the language, he was too much of a mortal for me. I was like, I had just read the Grimes article and it made sense. Exactly. Without that context, I was like, okay. But with it, I was like, oh yeah.
And I feel like that's when I know that I feel, like that's when I'm feeling the most not myself is when I'm being the most mortal. When I'm being like so human, I'm a Libra, moon and rising, so I'm always trying to find the balance between human and not human, you know, because I fully believe I'm not of this world, but I came here to be here and to be human, and then I feel like I'm depriving myself of the experience, like how much is too human? Then the Virgo just starts like we're analyzing it, so it's a whole thing,
Ooh, I guess so. Maybe I was blessed that I'm an Aquarius, and so we naturally live on another planet.
Yeah, you do.
And we already believe we're alien beings and otherworldly. What is your future?
Essentially, Undefined is my current membership. We're in this space of like personal development and things like that. How are we actually building wealth? How are we closing the wealth gap? Like, are we building wealth? Yes, but are we closing like the poverty and the wealth gap? And how are we supporting creatives? Because the creatives are the ones that are starving, literally. They don't, and everybody has a kernel of creativity. How can I start with the personal development aspect with Undefined, but then how can I create a DAO?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So I want to create a marketplace in the community so there's no trade of money. So if a woman wanted to start a business, all she would have to do is join the DAO, and then she could give, you know, there would be like a bartering system, but it's the token. So you would have a designer helping an organizer, and like you would just have everything you needed, and you would just be trading. Because what we're moving into is a collective, not an individual society. And so, you know, just these bargaining
and not
things.
moving into and also revisiting, because that's where we came from, and we like to forget this.
And had the enlightened like era of the creatives had they would be wealthy, and they would have the money, and they would be able to create more art, and the world would just be a more beautiful place to live in. And kids would not grow up seeing just their parents going to work and making money. They would see their parents just making art, like sitting around and making music, and then also being able to pay the bills and things like that. So I think that that's that. And for me, human design has always ever just been a way to stop judging yourself for who you were born to be, and then to have a little bit of a map to be more of who you're being. And so when it comes to NFTs in the collection, I wanted to have NFTs for designs, like human designs, like you for where you're at right now. So like your present self would be an NFT, but then also when you hit your next level becomes an NFT.
Ooh.
And it's like people can invest in your growth.
I love that.
You know what I mean? And then you're also investing in your growth. So then we would essentially gamify and reward people for doing the personal development work. Basically, like, here's more tokens for this. And I think Undefined will probably it will just be a DAO. So you pay to get in. There's going to be there'll be so many memberships probably. And if you want to get in, you have to sell your membership, essentially. But I want the information we're teaching inside the membership to be accessible outside, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The only way to get in is like, you'll get extra attention and all this stuff and all the value in that. But all the information we're teaching you inside of the membership is out there in the world. Like that's always ever been my most important thing, was that everything I teach inside of my courses, I've already taught outside of it.
I love that.
It's just an organization.
Course is just codified.
It's just an organization of it. So that's really, we're kind of going the same direction where it's like, how can we bring personal development into Web3? And then if you think about creators and influencers, just how they're gonna be able to make money by just creating. And somebody can just be like, I really like that. So then they like it, and then they're invested in it. It's this ownership economy where everybody has an investment in the things that they like. And so if you like or share something, then you have an investment in that art, that tweet that they created. I know that's what Elon's doing. So like, if
Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, a tweet will be art. A tweet will be an NFT. A tweet will be, and so everybody that likes it will increase in value. And everybody that likes it has an investment in it as it increases value. So those people, they may not get the millions of dollars, but they'll get the hundreds and the thousands. And so they're paying with their social capital.
This is the shift from that like industrial economy to, so Esther Perel calls it the identity economy, and I call it the culture ad economy. So it's almost like the more you are, the more you are rewarded. And so these tweets is an example of that, where it's like the originality of your thought determines how much you're rewarded for that.
And Li Jin calls it the creator economy, moving into the ownership economy. Well, we all take ownership in each other. And like we're all co-creating. To me, it's true co-creation. So if people like the music Jesse's making, they can invest in him by simply just, buying his NFT. And so, or of a song. If they really believe in a song, they could just pay, a small amount, and then they're invested in it. They get a royalty from it forever. As they have an investment in it doing well. So
and they're incentivized to share it, exactly.
And then he blows up. And then everybody gets rich, all of them. And like to me, that's how we close the wealth gap and the poverty levels. And it's by actually people being who they are, but monetizing who they are. And we have to shift our entire paradigm around that. And that's, to me, what the human design and undefined does, is shift the paradigm of value.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Small things. And that's the music. That's the music thing, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he'll have to eventually. I'll get a mic out and I'll sing. Yeah, you're gonna have to buy that. Yeah, you're gonna have to pay ETH for that for sure.
You're like 10 ETH.
Yeah,
going for 10.
10
starting
at
at 10.
But the thing is, I built a community that would pay for that.
Totally.
And that's why I'm trying to tell people to start now.
Okay, tell the kind people where to find you, because no, seriously, you guys, Paige is amazing. Like I said, intoxicating, infectious. Yeah, you're gonna love everything that she has to offer. So yeah, where's the best place to find you?
So you can find me on TikTok at I am Paige Michelle, and then you can find me on Instagram at I am Paige Michelle, and those are the two places I would send you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
I
for
really
having me.
appreciate you. Have you are building worlds.
Aww.
And I feel blessed to be a part of your world.
Same.
And so anytime I get to spend with you is a true blessing. And I feel like I grow and expand every time. So like, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me and seeing me from really early on. Like you saw it, and you really helped me see me through that, at least in this space for sure. So thanks.
Yay. Listen, sometimes life be lifing, and we do not know what's coming down that road next. Well, that's what happened to me in 2016 when I was unexpectedly laid off from my job. And I was 6 figures in student loan debt. I had no savings, and I didn't know what was gonna happen next. Now, luckily, I had this little voice inside of me at that time that I couldn't ignore, and it was telling me to take the leap. It was saying, use this as your opportunity to build your business. Use this as your opportunity to create your dream life. And so I believe that life happens for us, not to us. And that nudge in my spirit, I should listen to it. Luckily, I did. Fast forward to today, I have a business that's made over $20 million, and I've helped over 10,000 people create their online businesses and their dream lives. So do you want to learn how to turn your story into an online product and launch in 30 days? Head on over to coursefromscratch.com/since3000.
I want you to join us on this journey so you can listen to that little voice inside of you too. So go now, do yourself a favor, coursefromscratch.com/since3000.